Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabi al-Amin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Amma ba'd. Today's lecture on Hello, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Mr. Mughis, can you hear me?
Walaikum salam. There was an interruption, brother. So
Yes. Suddenly I got some problem here. Okay, let's begin now. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, this is our pleasure to welcome you all to today's lecture on digital Islamic economy, challenges and prospects. So, as part of our activities and programs of Islamic Economics Association of the Kuwait University, we are very much happy to conduct today's lecture with the prominent scholar and speaker, our brother, Mr. Mughis Shaukat. So let me introduce, though we all know our guest speaker, Mr. Mughis. Let me briefly introduce him. Yes, he's a globally recognized financial strategist and policy maker and policy advisor, fintech specialist, MIT, United States of America, and Islamic banking advisor, Bank Nizwa Oman, and also chairman, Fingal Global Incorporation Canada, vice chairman of the Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, IAAOFI board. And Dr. Mughis is also a pioneer head of Islamic finance, CBFS, under Central Bank of Oman. He is a thought leader, prolific author, renowned public speaker, and prominent contributor in local and global policy and strategic affairs. He is a projector of New Age global system, climate change, economics, entrepreneurship, behavioral and institutional economics, thought, and he's still contributing globally in the Islamic finance and economics areas. Yes, previously he worked as an assistant researcher in
Brother Muhammad, there is an issue with your voice.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Suddenly today I got some problem here, internet. So let me invite Mr. Mughis Shaukat to conduct today's lecture. And for your information, just I would like to inform that Mr. Mughis published more than 50 articles and research papers. And so far he delivered more than 150 keynote addresses, policy talks, and expert sessions globally. So this is our honor to have Mr. Mughis today to conduct today's lecture on digital Islamic economy, challenges and prospects. So welcome, Mr. Mugnets.
Thank you very much, Brother Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi ta'ala to all of you. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, from wherever you're joining us, in whichever time zone you are. May Allah bless you. May Allah keep you safe and secure in every way possible. And again, it is an honor, a matter of pride, as well as, utmost joy to always be a part of this very noble platform we call the International Islamic Economic Association. Brother Muhammad, you're doing fantastic in managing it and administering it. May Allah bless you, give you more tawfiq. And for people like me to come and share their thought process in taking things forward via a variety of issues and core issues that we bring on the table through this very prestigious platform. So again, I'm very honored to be back on that and be with all of you to discuss and bring forward some new thought process under these topics. So inshallah in a fikri way, yani at a thought process clarity manner, we can take things forward in whatever capacity Allah gives us, inshallah. So there I am again with this new session, with this new topic on this very, very noble platform, discussing the ideas of digital Islamic economy, challenges and prospects. Now, again, because the topic is right under my alley, I have bifurcated this in a simple language. What exactly are the challenges and prospects regarding digital Islamic economy? Now, to do so, folks, I want to first, sorry about that. I'm since yesterday, I'm not feeling very well, just a bit of a sore throat and flu. So if you observe this in my voice tone or some coughing, so please forgive me on that. Now, I want to break this session down into three core areas, which I call as food for our talk. And I want to first discuss what is FinTech 101, which I call as digitization of civilizations. This is how the disruptive it's been over the last 5 or 6 years at least. And of course, COVID situation further catalyzed humans getting online and using technology even for basic communication. And inshallah, then we shall see as a result of this how naturally aligned it is with the notions of Islamic finance and of course the notions of Islamic economic system. It's moving towards this new times and new age. And last but not the least, we'll discuss some challenges. And one of the core challenges that I will discuss with you that is going to shape up the whole scenario for digitization when it comes to Islamic economics and finance. So this is basically what our food for thought is going to be. And before this, let me start trying to decode it in a very simple way. What do we mean by financial technology? And basically ask, Yani, why is it so disruptive that the financial world, I'm talking about just the financial world, technology is showing effects in so many other spectrums of the routine and the life we know. But right now we are focusing on the economic and financial arena. So I want to first bring to you, why is technology, AKA FinTech or TechFin or decentralized finance or whatever nomenclatures that you're listening in the market around, why is it so attractive, hence so disruptive? When it comes to financial arena and then the influence of technology dictating our financial and economic behaviors, be it direct or indirect, there are three ways, folks, technology is causing disruption. Number one, it is causing disruption by the business side or the business model. This is one entry point of technology causing disruption. The other entry point is the operational side. It is causing disruption to the financial sector in an operational manner, to the operational mechanics of it. Number three is through customer experience. So when we talk about finance and technology, or technology and finance causing a disruption in the financial affairs or the financial behavior in general, there are only three ways as of now predominantly that this disruption is being caused in economics and finance. Number one, through the business models, operational, and then the customer experience model. There are certain markets, developed or underdeveloped, mostly underdeveloped markets, where only customer experience is pulling the financial sector to be dictated by technological disruptions or adopt technology-based solutions, digitization and whatnot. Perhaps in some markets, only operational ways are the entry points for such disruption to happen. And perhaps in other markets, business model is one main entry point. So these are three main models why technology is causing disruption in the financial and economic sense. Now, to understand this further, to further decode why does it matter and why we are talking about a digitized version of economics/Islamic economics, you have to understand the difference. Once you've understood the entry points, then you understand that is that disruption, no matter whichever entry point is trying to enter the financial sector, is that disruption necessarily causing an innovation through digitization or renovation through digitization? This innovation, renovation clarity is zaruri moving forward, no matter from whichever entry point out of the three that we've discussed, the disruption is trying to come in or already has entered your system. Again, limiting ourselves from the economic and financial system. So you have to ask yourself, so no matter which entry point it has chosen for itself to bring disruption in my economic or financial behavior, is that necessarily taking me towards innovation, or is just renovating my routines or my systems that I normally operate with? This clarity is very, very important. This is going to be my barometer, my judging criteria. Because if I know that this technology or this digitization is necessarily bringing itself with it innovation or making me innovatively smart, transaction cost wise, operational model wise, business model wise, or customer experience wise, then my behavior to adopt that digitization, my understanding of that digitization, my utilization of that digitization or technology adoption, and hence even regulation and standardizing my procedures and policies to tame that digitization and make it more user-friendly for my experiences, be it whichever model it is trying to enter, I will be very clear how to then utilize it, understand it, regulate it, and standardize it. If I think that this is just going to bring renovation, which is also okay, then I have to tame and behave accordingly when I'm adopting it, even regulation or standard setting wise, managing it as well. So this is very important that I must understand what is renovation versus innovation, and as a natija, behave accordingly in terms of utilizing, managing, taming, administering the incoming digitization and technology-based disruption in the financial sector or the economic sector. I'll give you an example. Everybody must have a debit or a credit card. Now each debit or credit card has a Wi-Fi feature on that. Now that Wi-Fi feature can be a simple example that I renovated. I added an extra enhancement to my present debit or credit card. That Wi-Fi feature, that is inbuilt feature of the debit and credit card, is called renovation. It's not necessarily innovation. However, if I develop totally new experience or something that is totally new or is not enhancing an existing experience, that is called innovation. For example, I now introduce, let's say, holographic solutions where I don't need a card. You just look at my face, and my face, the machine reads my face and accordingly judges what I'd want to buy and at how much price I want to buy. This is classic innovation, for example, I'm talking about. Now, Knowing that, as I mentioned, will allow me to how best I can tame accordingly the incoming financial disruption, renovation wise or innovation wise, no matter which entry point it selects, business, operation, or customer experience. The second thing that I want to help you decode in a simple language, that's our food for thought, as I mentioned, why I call it digitization of civilizations, is that any technology disruption that is necessarily going to cause innovation, either it will provide you access to big data, as you know, a data that never existed, a data which now is in your hands, that give you a huge strategic advantage, business model wise, operational model wise, customer experience wise, and hence over your competitors. So disruption shall necessarily give birth to big data that you never had, that you can utilize strategically, of course, affecting your revenues and service and whatnot, model operations or customers. It must dematerialize. So, you know, I mean, dematerialization means, let's say, things, paper, for example, paper that was material before, you now no more. Now, electronic communication, for example, very simple example I'm giving you, there is dematerialization that is happening. Number two, it demonetizes. It has to demonetize, meaning to say, let's say cryptocurrency, for example. So monetization is now becoming digital. You're now relying less on paper currency and more on digital currency. And it must democratize or decentralize decision making. So if any of these four, or simultaneously these four things are happening as a natija of that technology disruption, it is essentially an innovation-led technology disruption or digitization as compared to a renovation-led. And accordingly, picking my business model, operational model, customer experience, and knowing that is this disruption is being done innovatively through data, democratization, demonetization, or decentralization, it means to me that accordingly I will then behave and administer my disruption or incoming disruption. So basically, this is what, based in a very simple philosophy, digital disruption / digitization of civilization means. And all of these four items, data, materialization, demonetization, and democratization or decentralization, has to be a consequence for it to be categorized formally. Yes, this has disrupted. Question is now, with all this discussion that has just been submitted to your kind selves, what does that mean to Islamic banking and finance, or Islamic economic in general, and where does it all fit? Now, I have some data points, particularly when it comes to the Islamic world. Number one, we are over a 1.6 almost billion Muslim population. This is one data point. Number two, more than 50% of the global youth, 35 years and below, are Muslims, and importantly, they are all tech savvy. Number three, 50% of least financially included unbanked global population is among the Muslim community. Number four, only 41% of the OIC population has bank accounts versus 92% in the non-OIC developed countries. Number five, an equally important data point, total estimates of Muslim countries' sovereign wealth fund that the government funds, is 3 trillion, with only 650 billion of the 3 trillion coming into Islamic finance. So if you look at these data points, you will see what? 1.6 billion Muslims, more than 50% is young people who are tech savvy, least financially included on top of it. And so much so that only 41% of the Muslim community have bank accounts, with so much potential that we are sitting, fulus-wise, governments are sitting on minimum $3 trillion of funds available, and only 650 of which is going to Islamic finance. There is something wrong. Massive tech-savvy population, huge size of overall population, least financial inclusion, least banking going on in these communities, and a lot of monies that is still yet to be tapped to be transferred or channelized by Islamic banking and finance, hence the Islamic or halal economic system. What's going on? This is where it becomes much more relevant that it is about time that perhaps Islamic economics and finance should rejuvenate itself, rejuvenate its efficacy, and try and tap these data points. Now, for an Islamic economic and financial system, be it banking or non-banking system, they now know that I have a 1.6 billion of religiously emotional customer base who are straight away my original natural customer. They now know that given this new age world of post-COVID technology disruption, more than 50% of that 1.6 billion is young population that are automatically tech savvy population, ready to be further digitized and technologized. They now know that more than 50% of the same 1.6 billion is unbanked. So if I'm an Islamic banker, this is massive news for me. I should be very excited. And they now know that only 41% of the OIC, 57 Muslim countries, OIC population does not have any bank, yani 59% does not have bank accounts, if you see that. And I have $3 trillion sitting in my OIC countries, Muslim countries, only 650 billion came to my bank, for example, overall. So to be honest, this is a very exciting situation because this for me is a huge room to contribute. And the only way to contribute is if I understand and utilize this digitization or this wave of digital technology disruption that is changing the social fabric of the society, particularly post-COVID times. I should be extremely excited. If I belong to Islamic economic or financial or halal economy system, these data points and what is happening, the digitization of civilization, the disruption, the innovation that is bringing data-wise, dematerialization-wise, monetization-wise, decentralization-wise, to whichever entry point, business, operational, customer experience model, with these data points, I should be the most excited human being on the earth. This is why I call it a natural semblance to Islamic finance. Why? Because I call fintech, aka risk-sharing Islamic finance, aka also known as risk-sharing Islamic finance, because the aspects that has made financial technology disruption such a noticeable thing in the whole financial arena is not digitization per se, or is not fintech because it's technology based per se. No, what fintech did and what made fintech disruption so noticeable and so famous, that what it did was it started doing basic contracts of Islamic banking and finance through technology. So it tried to connect the deficit unit and the surplus unit, not this time with a bank, but to a digital platform, for example, by calling it crowdfunding, angel investing, P2P, all digitized. At the end of the day, applying partnership between them, mudarabas and musharaka, application of one-on-one basic risk sharing of mudaraba and istithmar contract through digitization. And such solutions, the crowdfunding, the angel investing, the P2P, and similar mudaraba musharaka applications through technology, through digitization, made it so disruptive that it started challenging banking traditionally as we know. And because of this similarity of the contracts and the model and the operational mechanism of risk sharing, if the SMAR based Islamic finance, the mudarabas and musharaka methodologies, the models that these people use with new names through digitization, this is why fintech disruption, that disrupting the financial sector as we know, is basically using Islamic finance through digitization and causing this disruption that is changing the economic and financial arena. This is why, based on this information, I become double excited because fintech is using what I'm supposed to already use 50 years ago when I brought back Islamic finance into the system. So fintech disruption is more closely related to me Islamic economic and financial system should be the first to adopt such digitization because it is actually using the modes of Islamic risk-sharing finance to cause disruption in the financial sector. So any system that should welcome this, particularly when you have this room of contribution, the data points that are available and makes me very excited, I should be the first person to welcome and congratulate and embrace such sort of financial technology. Leish, because that disruption is being caused necessarily by using my own modes that I was supposed to cause disruption when I brought back Islamic finance 40 years ago. So basically, financial technology disruption is serving the basic maqsad of Islamic finance and the mandates that Islamic financial system carried. This disruption would have been the disruption that was caused by Islamic finance when the system was brought back 40 years ago or so. But fintech is actually serving this mandate. So I, as an Islamic banker, should be very positive. I have so much room in my population is 1.6, more than 50% of my youth is tech savvy. Unbanked, less financial inclusion. They're crazy emotional people waiting for Sharia compliant financing. Halal economy is there. Sovereign wealth fund. My God, I have all the facilities and opportunities and the tools to play with. And on top of it, I have now financial technology causing disruption by using my own contracts. So this is what I call a natural synergy. We should not be afraid of this disruption as an Islamic bank or Islamic economic system. We should welcome it because it is serving my own mandate in a smarter, more user-friendly, more innovative, less transaction cost friendly manner. So me as an Islamic banker, I should embrace, this is the prospect. This is the opportunity. This is the root or mother of all the opportunities and prospect. If I'm an Islamic economist, I should be the most happiest person that, my God, this is going to serve, allow me new age solutions to eventually serve my original mandate as per Maqasid al-Shariah for overall prosperity, overall enhanced financial inclusion, and other affairs that are related and asked about me by now in a much more smarter, much more innovative and user-friendly, transaction cost-friendly manner. If I'm able to do that, if I'm able to decode, and then eventually understand fintech from its ecosystem perspective and see how it naturally matches my visions because it uses my own modes to serve Islamic finance through technology, man oh man, I'm not only going to serve 1.6 billion, the whole world then becomes an instant and more attractive and more familiar market to me because people are embracing Islamic finance. They don't know Islamic, call it Islamic finance. They may not understand it from that angle, but they are actually getting istifada or getting, problem solved by the mechanics of Islamic finance in this way through digitization and technology-based solutions. So this is my case. This is exactly the prospect. Now, the challenge is how to achieve, how many people know this, what we just discussed. This is where the challenge is. And once you know this, how many are ready to implement it in the way that has just been explained to you in an opportunity-oriented, embraceful manner? So first challenge is how many have this thought process clarity and see these opportunities, see this as a natural semblance and move on. And number two, how are you going to implement? The first thing first is create awareness about it. Create a fikri awareness simultaneously about it. Now, this is where the challenge is. This thought process clarity is equally missing in a very discouraging manner as it was missing when Islamic finance was relaunched 40 odd years ago. There is again, Islamic finance 101 is still facing and struggling with intellectual, cognitive, and dissonance and cognitive, deficiency among masses, everybody stakeholder-wise included. And now 2022 onwards, another cognitive deficiency and dissonance is palpable when it comes to adopting, with all these opportunities and natural semblance on offer, a fintech-driven model, technology digitization-driven model of Islamic economics and finance. So this is double the danger now. And this is why this is the challenge. And I can still see, I was looking at how much of people are working and know about this fiqh stuff or this clarity. I saw a latest report, and I was not surprised, to be honest, because I fear again same sort of dynamics are at practice over here that were there when Islamic finance was legitimate. We didn't understand and were not totally well aware, fully fiqh wise, philosophical wise, grasp wise, underpinnings wise, still is about the efficacy of Islamic finance, and now the digitized version of Islamic economics and finance. Look at this, for example. In the most prominent centers, I'm sorry, it's a blurred slide, but I can share a proper report later, perhaps, for example. I just tried to judge at a fiqh level how much work is being done to raise such a thought process awareness among the masses, particularly the youth, who are the torchbearers of the Jadid Islamic finance incoming. Realize that out of so many institutions that are practicing in these famous Islamic finance markets, 968 educational institutions mostly are still dealing with 101 or core sort of areas of Islamic finance. Research-wise, over 1,786 research are produced. 2,450. These are those data points. What I'm trying to tell you is that it's so much being done, but so little is being done. Look at this, for example. Among all of these research works that has been done, look at the overall topics that the research covers. Most of the research work is being done on Islamic banking, Islamic finance, core areas, 101 that you've been seeing over the last 10, 15 years, CSR, Sukuk, Takaful, governance. I'm not saying they're not needed. They are needed. But look at what's happening. Little, if at all, anything is being done over the last 4 or 5 years, 2015 onwards, basically, on anything that has to talk about technology, digitization, this natural fitri match of digitization and Islamic finance, and what we just discussed in the last 20 odd minutes or so. So this is my challenge. This is the fikri challenge. I do not want to now embark on a digitized Jadid version of Islamic finance by having the same shallow ground where my fikri level is not totally fully clear about the efficacy of it, which I did when I rebrought the system of Islamic economics and finance, or halal economy, 40 odd years ago. The same mistake. This is my challenge. If I want to adopt a Jadid version of Islamic finance, I must be fikri wise totally clear. If I'm not, then it'll be again a misfire. Look at this, for example. Right now, not a single professional qualification, full throttle, that is available, that gives you a full-on understanding in and out, end-to-end about technology, digitization, and its role in Islamic banking and finance and the times to come. Nothing. Sifr, full non-formal education. What about the risk of cyber attacks, for example? Because we've been talking about digitization and all that, but of course, digitization comes with a dark side of it. And technology also will always carry a dark side of cyber security, cyber risks. How much we are not even aware of what we've just discussed in these slides, let alone being aware of cyber security and cyber risk. Love talking about digitization, but little we talk about its dark side. That's an inbuilt, you can't avoid it, cyber security or cyber risks. If you're not even talking about digitization 101 and its role in Islamic finance, which is much more fitri than as conventional finance, you don't even want to discuss right now. Cyber risk is far, far away from the topics of discussion. So it's such a challenge to me that I fear that if fikri wise, we are on the same trajectory of adopting this Jadid Islamic finance, like what we were when adopting 101 Islamic finance, will be again at a miss. So the prospects or the opportunities that are now coming up that I've just discussed in an absolutely exciting manner, that makes me as a player in Islamic economics or halal economy 10 times more exciting than a conventional banker or a financial system. But if I'm unable to grasp the ideas fully and clarity is not there, and there is still again cognitive deficiency and cognitive dissonance in my thought process, I'll be at a miss again. That's a huge misfire, because Islamic finance adopts it or it doesn't adopt it, technology is so disruptive that it is going to create its own way and will keep on serving the mandate of Islamic finance by using Islamic istismar, similar contracts, and you will be playing a catch-up game. So it will lead you rather than you creating a synergy. So little do we talk about cybersecurity, cyber risks. I mean, this is again, for example, look, threats of cybersecurity, and nobody's even talking about it. We are still at phase one clarity. It is becoming easier, cheap, and more powerful. All the cyber risk, all in this COVID scenario, last 2 days, one of the things that has increased are cyber attacks and cyber crime massively. Data is at risk. You talk about big data, but how are you going to protect it from cybersecurity? These things, now there is a new phenomena that any institution that is going to be more cyber hygiene would be a sustainable institution. So meaning to say, you have to now in the future, if not already, transform yourself as a cyber hygiene bank or an entity, because this is going to be your deciding factor in you moving forward. The more cyber hygiene you are, the more sustainable and profit making you are. Of course, last but not the least, we are talking about digitization and all that, and cyber risks and what is missing, what is not, opportunities, prospect, challenges. But do not forget that there is a much bigger issue coming in simultaneously, is the risk of climate change, environment, global warming. The recent report shows that among the top 3 risks, as per the World Economic Forums, all relate to weather and climate change and global warming. It's, as a matter of fact, 5 of the top 10 risks, you can see these green bars, relate to environment and climate and whatnot. So, like I mentioned, this cyber hygiene, there is also something that is happening called climate Minsky moment. Now, entities who are already proactively understanding thought-wise, process-wise, and getting themselves to become cyber hygiene and avoid a climate Minsky moment, these are the organizations or the practices or the systems that are going to be in a well-off position rather than otherwise. This is why I think way forward, it's about time to embrace the opportunities on offer and look forward in implementing what I call as the Islamic or halal finance or economic called version 2.0. That has technology, sustainability in a post-COVID new normal world, in a multipolar world, and climate change in view inbuilt into their fikri, operational service, product, and policy, regulation, and standard setting wise. This creates a huge opportunities to all stakeholders, be it theoreticians, researchers, practitioners, standard set, regulators, even countries, to stamp a leadership status by becoming the hub of this Islamic finance version 2.0, because it's a huge natural semblance between digitization and Islamic finance model-wise, contracts and modes-wise, and of course, the data points that I shared, massive excitement that is there. At least this can attract a new kind of FDIs, skill migrations, human development, smarter economic inclusion in our parts of the world, of course, followed by development. Implementing all of this, the challenge would be if we still rely on knowers and do not produce believers and visionaries of a Jadid version 2.0 that is essentially crafted on technology, sustainability, to be operated in a climate change and multipolar ridden global economic world, I think we'll be at a huge miss. This is what the challenge is. Challenge is exactly this. The more clear we are, the better it is to embrace all these opportunities and capitalize. The less clear we are, the less believers and visionaries we are, the more knowers we are, this challenge will always remain and we will underperform. So this is what my whole notion when it comes to Islamic digital economy challenges and prospects are. The challenge is the fikri challenge, the fikr, the falsafa, the awareness, the thought process clarity. This is the challenge. This is the mother of all challenges. You cover this challenge, you are on an autopilot to not only reap the benefits and prospects that I've just mentioned, but much, much, much more, even when you're operating in a post-COVID environment that wants you to be cyber hygiene, that wants you to avoid climate Minsky moments, and wants you to operate in a climate change ridden multipolar environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mughis, for this wonderful and informative lecture. And Alhamdulillah, we have learned the actual position of Islamic finance in this digital stage globally. And Mr. Mughis also highlighted the challenges and risks, as well as he also discussed the possibilities and prospects. And I think our participants and our online guests benefited from the lecture. And now, Alhamdulillah, I think we ended, before the specific time. So this is good for our online guests and brothers and sisters. If you have any question or anything you need clarification, so please, you may ask, you may write in question box, or you may raise your hand. So Mr. Mughis is here to respond to your question, inshallah. Majid, okay, Brother Majid, raise hand. Brother Majid, yes, we switch on microphone for you, please. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
This is Majid Ukshakin from Nigeria.
Okay, welcome, brother. Yes.
Alhamdulillah, we mostly appreciate our lecturer for the eye-opening. I want to ask a question on the statistics that he displayed regarding the various researches on different aspects of the Islamic banking, Islamic finance, and some other aspects. And the Islamic fintech is not
Yes, Brother Majid. Yes. We cannot hear you, Brother Majid. Brother Majid, are you with us? I think you have some problem in internet.
All right, unless there is any more question, brother.
Okay, any more question? We are still waiting for more questions. Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Ibrahim. Okay, our sister Lane, thank you very much. You're most welcome. If any question, please, you may write your question. Yes, brothers and sisters, we wait for your question. If there is no more question, we need to end the session. No, there is no form. You just need to register in our website. You go through a website and fill up the form of membership. Then you will see there is a form. You just fill up that you join this program and that program. So our committee will directly mail you, and you can receive the certificate, inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala. So alhamdulillah, it appears that there are no more questions. So then let's inshallah, call it a day, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Inshallah. Okay, then we need to end the session here. So we would like to thank our online guests, brothers and sisters who join us today in this session. And thank you very much. And our special thank to our guest speaker, Mr. Shaukat, who is usually our regular guest speaker. And we thank you very much on behalf of our Nadal Iqtisad Islami, our associations, and thanks to you, Mr. Mugis.
Thank you very much, you as well. And Yani, as I mentioned always, I own this platform. This is as much our platform as is mine. So I mean, it's always a delight and pleasure to come and share my thought process with all the people who are getting benefit from this very prestigious platform. And may Allah give us more tawfiq, more energy, and more barakah and khair that we can produce through this platform. So congratulations again to you and your team. I'm just a small contributor. That's all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mugis, we can see there just a few questions. If you have time, we can respond.
Just one maybe, because, you know, I mean, as you know,
Shafakallah Sheikh. Yeah, we know that you are sick. Inshallah, may Allah grant you a full recovery, inshallah. Okay, the question from Mr. Saeed: how the digital economy can be grow the economy in the rural place?
Is this the full question, brother?
Yeah, that's the question.
So this is very simple, you know, I mean, all you need to do is to look at Africa. You know, Africa is as underdeveloped as any continent could be. But guess what? You know, the more underdeveloped it is, the more advanced it is in using technology solutions. So if you're saying that, you know, how technology can be utilized best in rural areas, for example, look at what is happening in Africa and the way they are smartly using. They don't have the luxuries of a fancy bank like so many other countries have, or a fancy banking system, or a financial system, or other supportive system. But still, they are doing it much more efficiently, much more smartly as compared to even advanced countries. Just check it, the whole application of mobile banking in certain African countries. There was our brother who wanted to question us from Nigeria. If he was there, ask him this story. Tell him how you're doing when it comes to payment system through digitization technology or mobile banking. So while I can go and tell you details, and I have solutions which I'm working with other countries and other institutions to bring technology and sort of, you know, contribute at the micro level or a nano level in bringing, you know, financial inclusion or business solutions to them, even at the village level. I'm just of the view that, you know, just look at what Africa is doing, and you will be surprised that how easy it is to benefit from the technology solutions. You don't need to be a PhD or a master's to utilize this. Even illiterate people are taking maximum benefit in Africa. And you know the status of Africa, even education-wise as well. So study Africa. That's the best example for you to gain more info on this.
Okay, thank you very much. Just one more from the sister. One sister Jehan raised hand. Yes, Sister Jehan, welcome. We switch on microphone for you. Yes, please. Jehan Altonsi, we switch on microphone for you. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you again, Mr. Mugis, for your clarification.
Anytime, bro.
We thank our management, our brothers and sisters in the association, especially our Dr. Alal Arbeit, Director General of the association, for their effort and this khidmah. May Allah reward them all. So with that, we will see you, inshallah, in next lectures, next session. May Allah bless us all. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Take care, everybody. May Allah bless us all.
You too. Inshallah. Shafakallah, Sheikh.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد.
نشرف باللقاء بكم في موائد النادي العلمية، ونسعد بأن نزف إليكم مواعيده الأسبوعية خلال شهر يونيو بحول الله تعالى.
من واحة العلم والمعرفة جامعة الكويت، ومن منارتها الرقمية نادي الاقتصاد الإسلامي.
تكامل وتناسق وتناغم في المواضيع مع التنوع والثراء.
فيا طالب العلم، إن نفسك إذا عودتها البطالة اعتادت، وإن عودتها العمل والجد والسهر سهرت وجدت وعملت.
ونهمس في أذن كل طالب علم بقول القائل: كن عالما في الناس أو متعلما أو سامعا، فالعلم ثوب فخار، من كل فن خذ ولا تجهل به.
وأن إنقاذ الناس من الضلالة وإخراجهم من الظلمات إلى النور أفضل قربة، فلأن يهدي الله بك رجلا واحدا خير لك من حمر النعم.
حياكم الله، أحيوا العلم والأدب، وانشروا العلم بين العجم والعرب.
واعلموا أن من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له به طريقا إلى الجنة.
The programs and activities usually cover a wide range of areas in Islamic banking, microfinance, insurance, capital market, equity market. The features are Shariah principles of Islamic finance, the nature of contracts, products and services provided by Islamic banking.
لقاءات ثرية في انتظاركم، ومحتوى يرتقي لتطلعاتكم.
توضع روابط التسجيلات لحضور برامجنا يوميا على قنواتنا ومواقع التواصل الاجتماعي للنادي، فلا تترددوا في حضورها واحتساب أجرها وتحصيل نفعها، فإنها رياض الجنان.
سعيا لخدمة طلبة العلم والارتقاء بمستوياتهم، يسر نادي الاقتصاد الإسلامي الإعلان عن منصة مدارج لإصدار الشهادات، بوابة خاصة لكل طالب. إمكانية التحقق من مصداقية الشهادات، إمكانية تغيير الاسم، كيف تعمل المنصة. بعد حضورك إحدى المحاضرات التابعة لنادي الاقتصاد الإسلامي، يقوم النادي بإنشاء حساب شخصي لك، ثم تصلك رسالة إلكترونية عبر البريد تحتوي على رابط المنصة، اسم المستخدم، كلمة المرور. قم بالضغط على رابط المنصة ثم أدخل اسم المستخدم كما هو موضح في الرسالة، وأيضا كلمة المرور. ثالثا، اضغط على شهاداتي. بعد الدخول إلى لوحة التحكم الخاصة بك، قم بالضغط على شهاداتي. هنا سوف تظهر لك جميع الشهادات الخاصة بك. بإمكانك الضغط على تحميل لتحميل الشهادة. كما يمكنك تعديل الاسم بالضغط على تعديل الاسم الكامل وكتابة الاسم الصحيح. انتبه، يسمح لك بتعديل الاسم الكامل مرة واحدة فقط. الرجاء التأكد من كتابة الاسم الصحيح. بعد ذلك قم بالضغط على حفظ. كما يمكنك تعديل كلمة المرور وإدخال كلمة مرور قوية. تم تسجيلك في منصة الشهادات بنجاح. مرحبا وأهلا بك في منصة مدارج الخاصة بشهاداتك في نادي الاقتصاد الإسلامي. شارك الآن وارتق معنا بسلم عضويات النادي. نادي الاقتصاد الإسلامي، التأصيل والتميز.